What's up, family? How you doing? It's your boy Dave Wilkins, aka Chicago Dave. This is my daughter
Sabrin.
over here enjoying her gymnastics life. We got practice in here in a little bit, so we'll try to be quick, but we got some things to talk about, guys. It's pain, tragedy. How do you overcome those emotions that are in your head? So this first book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. We're talking about the concept of positive thinking, which is the concept of it is fantastic. Keep that positive content coming in. However, if it's not replaced, if the negative content that's already stored in your head, in your subconscious, isn't replaced with positive content, guess what comes back? That negativity. So I'm gonna give you an example. It's in the book. It's called Your Mental Apartment. So visualize this with me real quick, all right? Imagine for a moment a mental apartment, the place you live with your thoughts. That mental apartment is furnished with everything you can think about yourself and the world around you. It is furnished with your thoughts. Much of the mental furniture in this mental apartment is hand-me-down furniture. It is the old negative way of thinking which was handed down to us from our parents, our friends, our teachers, and everyone else who has been helping us program our subconscious minds. They give us the furniture which we have kept and which we will use in our mental apartment. Okay, so think about that. Even from your grandparents, all the things that you grew up around, you developed this is how I do things, this is how I react to things, this is how I think about things. We are most comfortable with the thoughts we have lived with the most. It makes no difference if those thoughts aren't the best for us. It's what we know. It's what we are most secure in keeping at our side. So just by the show of hands, how many of us could admit to having some reactions that we know aren't good, but we just say, that's how I am. That's what I do, You've heard people say that's how we do things, even if they're not best for family or individual. When you decide to stop thinking negatively and do not have an immediate new positive vocabulary to replace the old, you will always return to the comfortable old negative self-talk of the past. So that's what I'm saying. Unless you consistently are learning new content, new positive energy in your life, guess what comes back? That negativity. So we have to look at positive thinking, but look at it to correct the negative thinking that's already in our subconscious, okay? So replacing the old with the new. We get rid of it. Listen up. We get rid of it. Don't give your old furniture to someone else. Don't pass along your negative self-talk to someone else. After all, that's how you got it in the first place. So maybe your parent or a loved one of yours always shamed you growing up. Guess what the natural habit is to do? Is pass it along to your children or to your coworkers or what have you. Get rid of it. Don't pass it on. Don't give it any more breath. Let's replace it with the positive and get rid of it. So burn it up. Light it up with a match and watch it flame. The right kind of self-talk is the key to making all positive thinking work. Wanting to be a positive thinker isn't enough. Making the decision to have a positive attitude isn't enough. The human brain says, give me more. Give me the words. Give me the direction, the commands, the picture, the schedule, and the results you want. Then I will do it for you. Give me the words. So your brain is pleading for more food, just like your stomach is. If you don't give it new food, it's gonna live off the old food that's already there. That negative stuff that you guys want gone, okay? So another thing that I've been learning this week is really taking responsibility for your past. The blame game. Most people are like, oh yeah, it's because of this person in my life, my relationship didn't work out. Oh, it's because of this boss, because my job didn't work out and end up the way I wanted it to. Guys, I'm now finally at the age of 37 and Sabrin, age of 10, taking responsibility for my life, where it's at, happiness, sad, my reactions, the things that aren't so amazing about my life, but the things that are amazing. I'm taking full responsibility for it. I chose the path, I took the actions, and I think we all need to do that, okay? So if you haven't gotten humble with yourself and looked in the mirror and say, you know what, it's nobody else's fault. But whatever my life looks like right now, it's all on me. So I take responsibility. And a part of that is, truly understanding a part of that is truly understanding our brains. And some of those negative thoughts that linger or that are in our subconscious are pretty powerful, guys. And you might even call them dysfunctional, okay? Just like the rewired brain, okay? It is talking about dysfunction. I too believe that our consistent reactions based solely on our system one feelings, that's the stuff you can't really control. That's just what naturally happens when we react. Desire, anger, fear, anxiety, hurt, jealousy, unworthiness, inadequacy. In overdrive can lead to powerful emotional dysfunctions that have the capacity to diminish our well-being and even destroy our lives. That to me is super, super powerful, because sometimes, I make strides in life, run 10 miles, but then you walk a block and see something you don't like, and it diminishes the whole 10-mile gain. Guys, we get tripped up quickly by emotional stuff that happens to us. Whether somebody at King Gyro's, remember we ordered some food and we were gonna go pick it up, and the dude was rude to me picking it up. Now that could have thrown my whole day off, and I could have focused on him being rude to me, or I could have been like, he's probably having a bad day. Let me pray for the man. Hopefully his day gets better, okay? Don't know what he's going through, okay? So when you have some major dysfunction, you need to have that powerful change and a powerful strategy of change. Don't wait 40 years like I did to discover what has prevented your joy. However, because you have been the way you are for many years, this process will take time. Change will be gradual, even under the best circumstances, as you learn how to self-direct the rewiring of your mind. The capacity to rewire your mind will depend on several factors, including these ones. 1, how well you understand the framework of your mind and the source of your pain. How many of you guys know the source of your pain? Can you identify an individual, a situation, a tragedy? Identify that source, okay? Number 2, the depth of your system 1 scars, okay? How you react to things that have happened to you. Some of those can be inked and imprinted in our brains, something fierce, okay? Number 3, how much you want to change. That's back to that ambition. Do you really even want to succeed? Are you really trying to achieve something, or are you just saying the words? Okay, you gotta not just talk about it, you gotta be about it, all right? Number 4, whether you have the humility and can be vulnerable enough to surrender your old way of life to God, all right? So, like I just said, humility. Are you gonna take responsibility for what's gone wrong in your past and want to change it, or are you gonna play the blame game and never go anywhere, okay? And at the end of that piece was to God. In our lives, faith is huge. And when we make mistakes, we look up and ask for forgiveness, and He does just that. So I definitely suggest you guys do the same thing. All right, and number 5, the effort and discipline you put into learning. Are you looking for new books, new people to follow, to keep that motivational content in your heart's mind and in your walk? Or did you just read one book and give up? Guys, to replace the negative concepts in our subconscious, we have to be actively putting that positive replacement in. Constant growth. Now, these are some real quick things that I just want to read to you guys because they hit me to the heart when I read them earlier. So ask these questions to yourself. Can you identify situations in your life when you responded in an exaggerated or illogical manner that was destructive to you or others? Perhaps you suffer from a phobia, or you have a tendency to overreact emotionally. What are the situations that trigger you? How do you tend to respond? Number 2, did you experience, or do you suspect you experienced a traumatic event as a child? If so, how has it significantly affected your life today? Number 3, have you ever considered the concept of emotional dysfunction? What does it mean to you? Number 4, one example of emotional dysfunction was my need to guarantee by any means necessary that I was acceptable and lovable. Reflect on your life, your behaviors, your habits, and your reactions. Could you be suffering from an emotional dysfunction? If so, what? How is your behavior out of proportion to the current situation? That's life, guys. We have to be humble to realize how we react. I'm definitely guilty of overreacting in a few situations in my past, but also recently. I'm still in progress, guys. God is working on me. I'm not there yet. So I apologize to anybody that I've overreacted to. You know who you are. Thank you for being patient with me. And, we're going to grow together and accomplish this dysfunctional behavior in terms of replacing it with that positive new content of where our lives will go next. Okay? So now we're jumping back into my man, John C. Maxwell, 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. All right? We're talking about pain now. So pain isn't fun. Is pain fun to you? Have you ever broken anything?
Yes, and when I was in preschool, I broke my elbow because there was like this little house thingy and people like to sit on like the rim of it. And then a lot of people fall off. There was like 3 or 4 people that broke their arms from falling off of it. So I was one of them.
So you probably don't want to get back on that house again.
Nope.
Exactly.
Good thing that school, they don't have that school anymore because they changed it into like a musical store.
Okay. Cool. So once you venture into some part of pain, you probably don't want to experience it anymore. So chapter 8, the law of pain. Good management of bad experiences leads to great growth. Every problem introduces a person to himself. How do you usually respond to bad experiences? Do you explode in anger? Do you shrink into yourself emotionally? Do you detach yourself from the experience as much as possible? Do you ignore it? Each time we encounter a painful experience, we get to know ourselves a little better. Pain prompts us to face who we are and where we are. What we do with that experience defines who we become. So these are some questions that John has asked him that it will talk to you about, some of the things that you can ask yourself in the moment to accomplish getting over those things. What does God want for me? What can I do in him by his power within me? How will he use me to touch others? So sometimes when we go through a tragedy, you need to look at others to get over what that is. If we stay zoned in on us and how we feel and what somebody's doing to us, we'll always stay in that perspective. But in moments of tragedy, if we're focusing on others, how can we be a resource? How can we pray for others? How can we be used for God's glory? Then we'll get an answer that isn't focused on us. So I think a lot of time when pain comes, let's try to refocus our energies elsewhere. What I know about bad experiences, and again, this is John Maxwell. I wanted to help people to deal with problems and mistakes in a way that helped them rather than hurt them. I wanted to teach people how to use bad experiences as stepping stones for success. Here's what I know about bad experiences. One, everybody has them. So the person driving that Mustang, that person driving that beat up car, person walking on the side of the street with some bags in their hand. Everybody experiences bad experiences and also pain, okay? Expecting the world to treat you fairly just because you're a good person is a little like expecting the bull not to charge you because you're a vegetarian. So if you're in front of a bull, and especially if you're wearing red, you know you're a target, whether you're a vegetarian or a meat eater. Guys, life happens and you can't really control it. Number 2, no one likes it. So whether you're super successful or just starting out or whatever category of life you're in, nobody likes it. But it challenges us, and a lot of people can get growth out of it if they're willing. Number 3, few people make bad experiences positive experiences. Life's difficulties do not allow us to stay the same. They move us somewhere. The question is, in what direction will you be moved? Forward or backward? Success in life comes not from holding a good hand, but in playing a poor hand well. That was by Warren G. Lester. Okay? So he has a pain foul. All right, bear with me, guys. We're almost there. John Maxwell has a pain file. And these are some points that he's got within it. Hey, how you doing? So John Maxwell has a pain file, and these are some of the things he's got in it. The pain of inexperience, the pain of incompetence, the pain of disappointment, the pain of conflict, the pain of change, the pain of bad health, the pain of hard decisions, the pain of financial loss, the pain of relationship losses, the pain of not being number one, the pain of traveling, the pain of responsibility. Guys, we all have our files. Depending on what our life looks like, how we have to travel, what our family situation looks like, our pile can grow, okay? But you can also learn through each of those pain points. So how to turn your pain into gain. If you want your bad experiences to keep you not only from doing the same silly things, but to also lead to significant growth, I suggest that you embrace the following 5 actions. So he's got 5 actions that he really wants to put in front of us to turn our pain into gain. Number 1, choose a positive life stance. You know, like if you get ready to fight, you know, you got that stance, that fighting stance. You don't want to get caught off guard. You're prepared for everything. You're ready for war. Well, you need to have a positive life stance. If you can imagine a positive life stance, you can put yourself in the best position to manage bad experiences and turn them into positive growth. Life is not the way it's supposed to be. It's the way it is. The way you cope with it is what makes the difference. I have come to adopt a positive life stance because I believe it gives me the best chance to succeed while putting me in the best position to help others succeed. Okay, again, not always about ourselves. Often when we focus on someone else and how we can help, success even comes through that. Okay, so look to help others. Life is filled with good and bad. Some of the good and bad I can't control. That's life. Some of the good and bad will find me. If I have a positive life stance, the good and bad will become better. If I have a negative life stance, the good and bad will become worse. Therefore, I choose a positive life stance. To a larger degree in life, you get what you expect. Not always, but most of the time. Let me repeat that. To a large degree in life, you get what you expect. Not always, but most of the time. So expect high things for yourself. Those goals and those visions of your future. Guys, don't limit where it can go. Expect greatness so that you can get to greatness. Number 2, embrace and develop your creativity. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. I believe that creativity begins at the end of your comfort zone. When you feel the pain of bad experiences, creativity gives you the opportunity to turn that pain into gain. When you have a bad experience, instead of letting it discourage you or make you angry, try to find a way to let it prompt your creativity. Bingo. Let's get creative, y'all. A lot of us think differently. A lot of us have unique, different skills and talents. If you need to talk to someone, and if you need to, again, think outside the box, spend that time, because it could help you guys get to a cool destination. Number 3, embrace the value of bad experiences. It's always easier to see something positive in a negative experience long after it happens. Again, that reflection is important. Facing difficulties is inevitable. Learning from them is an option. Facing difficulties is inevitable. Learning from them is optional. Okay? Number 4, make good changes after learning from bad experiences. It made me face the fact that I needed to change the way I was living. You could say I finally reached a teachable moment, and that is the value of the law of pain. It gives us an opportunity to turn our lives around. A bend in the road is not the end of the road unless you fail to make the turn. The next time you find yourself in the midst of a bad experience, remind yourself that you are on the cusp of an opportunity to change and to grow. Number 5, take responsibility for your life. Again, we talked about that, guys. Not the blame game. We need to take responsibility for where we are, where we've been, and where we're going to go. It's nearly impossible to grow in any significant way when you don't take responsibility for yourself and your life. Well, today I claim it. I take responsibility. You take responsibility? Say it. I take responsibility.
I take responsibility.
We take responsibility. No matter what you have gone through in life or what you are currently going through, you have the opportunity to grow from it. All right? So that one's big. All right, so we're going to end off this amazing concept of pain and growth and turning our negative subconscious thoughts into positive ones with a verse from the Bible. Now we're looking at Revelation, okay? Now this should end off with the ice cream on top of the cake. You know, you get to live life and, you know, the best of it. And this is what we're aiming for. In Revelation 21:4, he will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. So God is going to be there, and this is when we're in heaven. But the cool thing about heaven is that there's not going to be any pain. So the things that we're going through in life now on earth, that includes pain, that includes our reactions to things like tragedies, God's going to take them away once we put our trust in him. We got to ask him to come into our hearts, and we're going to die to him, give our life to him. And when we get to heaven, there won't be any more pain. So these books won't really apply to what we'll feel then. So I just want you guys to keep your eye on the bigger prize. As we go through life, none of it's fair. We all know that. But at the same time, God is going to take all that pain and anguish away. Saban, what do you think about that? You want to get to heaven?
Yes.
So do I. I can't wait. So if you're in pain right now, the first thing I would do is get some prayer. Pray yourself. Ask the God to help you with that pain, help you get some positive content, help you see the positive side of that tragedy or whatever you're in. Because when there's a will, there's a way. And I know you guys have that will. That's why you're paying attention right now. We love you. We're going to see you next time. We got to get to her gymnastics session so she can make the Olympics. But y'all be disciplined. Let's stay on course. God bless. We out.